Big Bubble Radio.
Hello and welcome to the Local Lockdown with me, Neil Stockley. On this week's show we have two brilliant bands, both from different genres, but I think they're going to sit nicely together. The first band I'm going to play you are Thousand Army. Okay, so let's get straight into it. This is their first track, The Fence.
Who sings of the setting sun, and a man in a waiting room at the age of 91. He pauses to contemplate all that has begun. It's time to reflect on what he's done. His sentence is bound by the cancer in his lungs. Thinks vengeance is crowned by the barrel of a gun. Now teenage rebellion doesn't seem so fun. He's counting out the lies that he has spun. So he readies his defences to face the moral sword. He's gathered all the evidence to defend the life he's walked. And the question is honour, how will he retort when he stood at the bench before the court? Now he meets his maker with his arms spread open wide. No trick could old St. Peter to just let his soul inside. My cowardice is greater than my righteous sense of pride, and this is what I must confess tonight. So he's standing at the altar where confessions do begin. There's a growing sense of panic as the jury starts to grin. Despite his preparation, they're not believing him. We'll just let you wallow in your sin. A sudden realization, he must think of something fast, some sort of declaration that's more moving than the last. There's a muttering of laughter as down the verdict's cast. Good effort, son, but you can't erase your past. It's all the same. There's a wasted days on the bridal way. The trees still sway. The fence remains. So as his head hangs, they loom there as if the game is won. It's all for entertainment now, the fragile end has come. You stand there before these devils dressed as gods of love, hand in hand with nowhere left to run. Salvation is forsaken, he's never heeded the word, and amongst the mixed messages they claim he should have heard. Now he's finding out exactly what his faith is worth as he suffers the consequences of the church. Eternity to repent now and toe the holy line. He's butchered and tormented until the end of time. How dare you try to question all that he's designed? There's nothing about his message we disguise. So he fades into oblivion to repay unsettled scores. They say, son, you should have listened, you cannot claim that you weren't warned. We marched on through the cities and left them all war-torn. Commandments were echoed through the swords. So farewell now, spirit, you did the best that you could. There's a lingering of memory for the beliefs for which you once stood. There's henchmen controlling the liberties you took, and they will until their vows are understood. It's all the same. The wasted days on the bridal way. trees still sway. Difference remains.
That was Thousand Army with The Fence. Great track. Love the violin, love the whole folk feel. It's the sort of track that you'd have to have really, really loud and really get into it on a night out. Spot on.
The Local Lockdown with Neil Stockley.
Okay, so now to give you some background on Thousand Army. The band was founded in Margate in Thanet in 2006. Thousand Army is an acoustic folk rock band which offers a musical critique of British culture. The exciting melody work provided by Stefan White on violin and Greg Bayliss on banjo, and the smooth stability facilitated by Kevin O'Shea on bass. All of these factors combined, mixed with Stuart's writing, create a perfect folk ensemble. And as ever, as I say every week, if I sound like I'm reading this, it's because I am. Okay, so the band itself is made up of various multi-instrumentalists, including Stefan White, as we previously mentioned, on violin and mandolin. You have Greg Bayliss, who's on banjo but also plays guitar. On vocals you have Stuart. That's all I know about Stuart. We don't have a surname on the bio, so for now, Stuart, you're Stuart. On bass we have Kevin O'Shea, and combined they are Thousand Army. Their influences. Thousand Army takes influences from various forms of street music, ranging from the folk revivals in the UK, country music of the US, lyricism from Morrissey, and now internationally established hip-hop culture, blending these influences into their own unique style of folk. Okay, so now you have some background on Thousand Army. Let's play another track. This track is called Let It Rain.
The tension's running high as the grass has gone and died and the sun's been beating down for days. Now there's a rumbling in the sky as the leaves are scattered wide. Seems nature takes its chance again. So we all gather round, a happy family now, as we're looking for the skies to change. When the lightning sparks the clouds, we'll listen for the sounds that'll indicate how far the storm's away. Let it rain, let it rain. Refresh the soil and plant the seeds again. Let it rain, let it rain. We're sick of the stagnant early these days. We reside on the porch, looking for a source that'll tell us when the rain will cascade. And according to reports, there's a downpour of sorts that'll help my petty garden on its way. And so despite what we've been taught, we'll dance beneath the storm and take the path the rainbow has made. Some say the flowers will grow or a deluge will impose. Either way I want to see the rain again. Let it rain, let it rain. Refresh the soil and plant the seeds again. Let it rain, let it rain. We're sick of the stagnant air these days. Let it rain, let it rain. Refresh the soil and plant the seeds again. Let it rain, let it rain. We're at the stagnancy these days.
So that was Thousand Army with Let It Rain from the EP In the Meantime, which you can find on iTunes and Spotify and all platforms. These recordings were done in-house by Stefan in his bedroom. So that's really impressive. Sounds great. You'd never suspect that wasn't done in a professional studio. Big thank you to Stefan for providing me with the tracks and the information about Thousand Army. As ever, I will do a blog to go with this show where you can find all the links to Thousand Army on all their social media platforms.
Don't forget, you can email us, studio@bigbubble.uk.
Okay, so the next band we are going to feature today is Fieves. Fieves are a band from Canterbury. Fieves have been playing in various venues across the southeast of Kent. They're long-time supporters of the local music scene. The band focus on intimate, loud and energetic live performances, filled with guitar-driven hooks. Following the release of their debut EP, Love Slug, in 2018, and followed that up in 2019 with the mini EP, Ignorance Was Bliss. Okay, so now you know a little bit about Fieves. Here's their first track, Get Back in Your Box.
It's most peculiar to occupy the mind.
Fieves with Get Out of Your Box. Now, on this show, don't ever say I don't give you a vast variety of music. We've gone from folk to, well, I guess you'd say rock with aspects of metal. I really like that. I think production is great on it. I'm not sure where it was engineered, where it was recorded, not sure. But it's kind of got... I was listening to that earlier and thinking, you know, who does this remind me of? And I kind of thought it's too heavy for a lot of the stuff that I tend to listen to. It's a bit, I guess you could say it's kind of like a heavier Stone Temple Pilots, very Queens of the Stone Age, which can only be a massive compliment, so don't get offended by that. Yeah, maybe a little bit Tool, maybe, early stuff. Anyway, you know, go back and have a listen to that track again and see what it reminds you of. Anyway, now it's time to introduce the members of Fieves. Right, so you've got Michael Maidon on guitar, Joe Pritchard on guitar and vocals, Jack Coulson on drums, and Ethan Still on bass. It's funny when you've sort of been in a sort of local music scene for like sort of the best part of 15 years, because you start recognising people that you've sort of met a decade ago or stuff like that. Like I know Michael from a long time ago. I think I know Ethan, the bass player. I'm pretty sure I've met him a few times. But it's funny, you see these people and then they're sort of recognisable, but time has that way of making you question whether you actually know these people. But yeah, what a great track that was. I've never seen these guys live, but I'm definitely going to have to check them out. I think I have to take Mr. Rocksmith, Matthew Smith, with me, because this is his sort of thing. Yeah, great song. Right, let's get on to the next track. Let's just keep going with this.
Intentions were wrong. The horn dancer, but out of the mood. You can hear the tick
that was The Good Looking Boy with the Bad Ideas from Fieves. It's really interesting to hear the second track because it's nothing like the first track, which is quite rare with bands. Normally, most bands stick to their genre. Do you know what I mean? They're either a rock band or a folk band. I mean, that's still rock, don't get me wrong. But it's got a very different feel to that first song, and I just think that's quite a rare thing to find with bands. They tend to, you can generally tell that's a band by their sound, whereas these guys seem to have no fear of jumping into different realms of rock. And that's cool, that's a good thing to see. That's what all local music scenes really do need. And yeah, so that was Fieves. As I said, I will do a blog to go with this show, and on that blog there will be all the links to their social media, to all the places you can buy their music. As I said last week as well, once obviously all the venues are open and we're able to go to shows, I will be adding the band's gig dates to the blogs. Highly recommend you see both of these bands live. I'm sure once the lockdown is over, we'll all be going out more and seeing more bands, and hopefully that will keep going. Once everything gets back to normal, hopefully people will see that as a good way to spend their evenings. Anyway, the next section of my show is my self-indulgent selection. It's been an eclectic mix this week so far, and I'm going to continue that. This is one of my all-time favourite bands, and this is probably in my top 3 of their songs. It's completely different to anything we've played so far. This song is by Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, and I first heard this, I was playing on a cruise ship. Ooh, shudder to think. And the guitar player was massively into these guys. I'd never heard of them, and he gave me a memory stick with an album called Deja Vu on it, and I ended up going and getting all their albums, and this was a song that just blew me away. I mean, the recorded version is great, don't get me wrong, but the live version is, any live version is unbelievable. So here you go. This is Sweet Judy Blue Eyes by Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. So that was the amazing Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young with Sweet Judy Blue Eyes. As I said, what a track. If you've never heard it, you're going to need to listen to it about 1,000 times, and you'll still hear stuff you didn't hear before. So Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. Obviously, you got David Crosby, who was in the Byrds originally, 8 Miles High, stuff like that. Stephen Stills was in Buffalo Springfield with Neil Young. Then you've got Graham Nash, who was in the Hollies. What a band, what a lineup, what a super group. I was lucky enough last year to see Graham Nash in Folkestone. And even at the age of I think he's something like 78, was unbelievable. The man's voice was stunning. I'd love to see Stephen Stills, but I'm not sure that's ever going to happen. They've all got solo records as well. Stephen Stills has a back catalogue that's massive. He's got a solo album, self-titled, called Stephen Stills, which is a brilliant album. I mean, obviously I don't need to talk about Neil Young. We all know, it's fantastic. But put these guys together, and what a sound. And their first gig was Woodstock. Yes, that Woodstock. They went up, and that was their first time live. And just a completely legendary band in every conceivable sense of the word or phrase. It's just unbelievable. They've got loads of albums, quite a lot of live stuff. They did some cool shows in 2012, where obviously they had to drop the key of a few of these songs, but they still had it. The harmonies were still there. I mean, David Crosby's voice was, as ever, like silk. You've got Graham Nash with the high top end stuff, and Stephen Stills can pretty much sit anywhere really, which is just a mark of the man's absolute class. Anyway, I highly recommend you check out Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. The next track in my self-indulgent selection is coming up now.
Hear local bands on the local lockdown.
Okay, so that was 2 in a row there from Elton John. First track was Tiny Dancer, which I guess was given its sort of second lease of life in the film Almost Famous, directed by Cameron Crowe. What a fantastic song. I was lucky enough to be brought up pretty much on Elton John, James Taylor, the sort of classics, you know. That track particularly, Tiny Dancer. Really, I love Nigel Olsson, who's Elton John's drummer. His feel, he's not afraid to just play simple. You know, on Tiny Dancer and Philadelphia Freedom. He's not going mental. He's holding down a really tight feel. And I think he's a very underestimated musician, Nigel Olsson. Obviously, you can compare the two tracks. Philadelphia Freedom's very different to Tiny Dancer. But they're both held together with that bass and drum feel that's just goes through all of Elton John's music, which is why I guess he's had the same backing band since the early 70s.
The Local Lockdown with Neil Stockley.
Okay, so we've had some Crosby, Stills and Nash. We've had a bit of Elton John. I'm now going to go back to the sort of Laurel Canyon, LA thing again, the 60s vibe. I'm going to play you some James Taylor because James Taylor's probably my biggest influence musically. Although I sound nothing like him in any way. But his music I could not live without. If I had to choose any one artist, James Taylor would be it. Okay, so that was the one and only legendary James Taylor with the track Mexico. Now it's time to get back to our two bands, Thousand Army and Fieves. I'm going to play one more track from each. And just enjoy it, see what you think. Please do check out the blog that goes with this episode. I will post all the links available for both bands. Okay, so first up, we're going to listen to Thousand Army with a song called Games for Our Children.
In the valley of confusion, it's hard choosing through these illusions, lame with contusions, the prophecies amusing. And the drivers you from the support you've been using, but all improvement is each limitations of humans. And the cause word once it was a soothing sentiment, but now in the 2010s of my heart's refugees they're recruiting for a mutiny of nuisance or a grateful affection, depending on the rumors. Interpretation is everything. I can help assume that our humors of doom make a tragedy we use this to prevent this reunion of truth we're consuming. Hold tight to your dreams of the future, no matter how much they may need reducing. There'll always be a chorus when you sing. Days are awakening. It's hard taking to fake a creation or plans formulating to hold the sensation of a false population. The faith-based in race is just ridiculous to call yourself indigenous. Only reflects how much heart you can waste. Another article of hate they are cast on a waste. It's a heresy of taste to replace what they've raised with complaints others make that conflate their restraints with the pains of a nation. Subjugation is critical, and I am being cynical. Guns in hand they stand with no words, it's always blatant. Yet the battle they have taken left a stain with the graves they've shaken. And as we crumble these foundations, an honest man can't erase this mistaken. If he tried he would surely be forsaken. Now conscience is fading, their heroes are craving, confronting our fate. I wonder if we'll make it. Testaments we face keep on changing.
Choosing our prisons as well as losing our vision. I've got depleting ambition now for this musical mission. I'm wishing everything we're missing wasn't gone, but the distance here is missions by now, and it's time for total submission to the fact we can't escape the change of vocal transition. It's important how we shape our fate and face opposition. Algorithm systems to sustain pain of fake cognition, whilst wars away traditions made us games for our children, and we'll be singing.
The lights go far, the flames are gonna reach the stars. It'll shout our name as we lie, struggling to find out who's to blame. The lights go far, the flames are gonna reach the stars. It'll shout our name as we lie, struggling to find out who's to.
Don't forget, you can email us, studio@bigbubble.uk.
That was Fieves with Do My Shoes Offend You. Big thank you to both bands, Thousand Army and Fieves, for providing me with their music and letting me play it on today's show. As I say, all links will be provided on the blog. which is available at Big Bubble UK. Thanks very much for listening. Do please check out the website and the other shows available. And have a fantastic weekend. See you next Saturday at 7 p.m. Good night.
Bubbling over with
Big Bubble Radio.
The Local Lockdown with Neil Stockley.